utopia, as a rule, doesn't exist. I could, you know, go to church or wherever and find spiritual enlightenment, but I'm too cynical for that. If we're going to sort of refer to my own personal happinesses, I still can't even define that as an individual thing. But I suppose I'm defining my peace as isolation in an environment, I think. But again, it could be the juxtaposition of having a crowd around you and then having your own isolation. Because if you're isolated all the time, loneliness and madness starts to creep in. I suppose there is gratification, but it's always come back to self-fulfillment. That's a tough one, really. I suppose that comes at the end of every given day where you feel good about what you've been through, your experience within the course of that day. I think but if we're coming close to any kind of utopia, then that's probably it. So it's a kind of peace rather than a utopia. Which I suppose, again, utopians could be peace, I don't know. Again, utopias are individually defined, aren't they? Capitalism is itself always been this, you know, globalized kind of situation. But now that the globalized and the capitalized and the political are sort of merging to form the super empire, it's the idea that whatever we do is part of an empire really bothers me now. So I'm just not sure. But again, empires like to think of themselves as these things that create peace and they can bring order. Every empire thinks it can bring order for some strange reason. My personal culture and where I come from as a culture is always not so much marginalized, but it's criminalized, you know. I smoke. That's not a criminal act. I'm not a criminal by any standards, but I'm being criminalized. So therefore I understand my relationship to be my personal utopia. My heaven is the next man's hell. You know, you know, I'm a graffiti artist. My art is a criminalized medium, you know, and so it doesn't make sense to me. But on a global environment, I can get weed anywhere in the world. This doesn't make sense to me either. So it's like, you know, this whole utopian thing, this just sounds like if I stand up for my utopia, I'm pretty much going to have to go to war with the empire, because the empire is against my civil liberty, my own individual self, because it wants me to go to college, learn the system, and come out the other side to be a good boy and pay my taxes. I love the idealistic side of this, where someone goes, oh, my utopia is, and they can actually talk about it, but you watch, in a year's time, it will change. Because the more you talk about utopias, it comes down to personal, it sits in the stimuli area, definitely. It's knowing picking your stimuli. Utopia, as a rule, doesn't exist.
Yes.